Yo, 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 what's good? Welcome. It is June 13th, 7 p.m. in the wonderful, beautiful city of Los Angeles. This is season 3, episode number 19, Break Your Crutches. And I'm your host, Duane Cofield. This is also the weekly tap in, and I'm tapping in. What's cracking, family? I know I'm competing with the finals. I understand. I get it. But that means our message has to be just as strong. So those who are tapping in, make sure that you put where your section at, where you at, what city you in. Just go ahead, put the finals on in the background, get this game for about a half an hour, 45 minutes, and then you can get back to it. We will not miss the fourth quarter. Trust me on that one. So make sure that you put your city where you're repping from. Those who are listening on the replay, man, thank you for listening. Those who have subscribed to the podcast, subscribe to our YouTube, any of our handles. They're all at Drug Dealers to Businessmen podcast. Make sure you follow us on Instagram as well. I just want to say thank you guys, man, because I totally appreciate this. You spend your Mondays with me. I try to give you my best as always. And you know, when I go through things, man, that's usually where I get, like I said, I've mentioned this before, where I get the content from, right? And what kind of sparked this whole Break Your Crutches conversation was the fact that, you know, you recognize these crutches that you always depend on, right? These things that you've always used, you've always relied on. Sometimes they're called habits. Sometimes they're called excuses. Sometimes they're called just routines, right? That we always do and we always rely on, right? The excuse, right? We always come with excuses or whatever. But anyways, my excuse was always, I don't have the tools to fix stuff, right? So the first thing I want to do is go buy something else, right? What's going on with it, Samuel? Appreciate that, man. Always, baby. So when our cooler breaks, my wife is doing some water balloons for the kids at the school, and the kids go rowdy with it, and the cooler breaks. And the first thing we're doing is the crutch. We got the money. Let's go buy another cooler, right? Let's just replace it, throw it in, try whatever, replace it. I'm like, man, but why haven't you explored what you can do about it? You know what I'm saying? Why haven't you looked at, can I fix this? Is there anything that I can do about this? And in life, man, we trip off of the same things, right? We're relying on the same crutches. Why aren't you pursuing things? Because I got this job. So what? What happens if they come up and give you a pink slip tomorrow and say, you know what, the plant's closing or we're moving to Texas? That's what happened out here in LA. We're moving to Texas. Honda, I think they did Toyota. We're moving to Texas. And then what? What are you going to do? You done got your kids in school. You live in a nice little area. You done bought the house. Yeah, if you want to still work for us, man, you're going to have to sell that house and come on to Texas with us, right? So that same job could be a remix for you, right? That crutch can always, and what does it do for us, right? Let's take it back to the baby times, right? What do crutches do for us? What's the purpose of a crutch, right? If we're injured in a sense, man, then a crutch actually serves a purpose, right? Because it helps us heal. It's supposed to keep some weight off of it. The problem is with crutches that if you wait too long, you're going to end up being dependent upon it. Right. So how many crutches are we dependent upon when we think about that? Right. We have to break our crutches in order to really show what we can do. And my crutch was always, man, I can figure my way. I can buy it. I can just go buy. Nah, figure it out. See if you can repair it. And I started doing research. I went online, got the tools for to fix the cooler, fix the thing. 100% cost me under $30. Where I was about to go spend $100 something. Right. So when you think about things like that, what are some of the other crutches that we actually use to stop us from actually seeing our full potential? Because that's what it is. My potential was, man, you could fix a lot more things. I fixed my door. I fixed all kind of stuff in my house. Now, whereas I've never done these things before. Why? Because I've never had to. Right? If we take it back to the Charles Darwin days, what is that? We talked about that bird before. I think it was somebody had mentioned it. Shout out to, I think it was John, man, had mentioned it in the past. Well, if you look at Charles Darwin and that whole evolution thing, right? At the Galapagos Islands, they had birds that never flew, right? Because they never had to. They weren't forced to, right? If you're not forced to something, you'll constantly be at ease, right? So they just stayed on the ground because there were no predators, right? The reason why birds fly is for predators. They're trying to get away from them, right? The same thing, right? When we think about the crutches, right? A lot of people are freaking out because their EDD is cut off. Unemployment was popping for a year, right? As long as COVID was popping, nobody was tripping. We could stay at the house, still get this fat check, or we do these EDD licks or whatever the case may be. Now that money's running out, the crutch is gone. Right? We on some Who Moved My Cheese shit. Right? Anybody read that book? If you haven't, I suggest you do, because that's a perfect example of relying on a crutch, relying on a paycheck, relying on somebody to dictate what they're going to give you, right? And whether you save or not is going to determine whether your future, man, you got to go out there and try some shit, right? You got to break that crutch. Let me go out here and try something. Let me try to figure it out. Let me go put it together. I was just sitting there cleaning our fryers this weekend. We started with 2 fryers and a dream. And I promise you, we getting ready to turn it in. You see, we got the chicken shirt on, so I'm pushing that stuff now. The other businesses are damn near on autopilot. As soon as I find a driver for the tour business, it's on 100% autopilot. I'm not touching it at all anymore. Come pick it up. You know what your schedule is. Here's the lock code. I don't even have to go out there and give you keys. The keys are already in there. That's what I'm trying to get it on autopilot, and then work this chicken, break the crutch, right? Have a job right now, but I'm saying to myself, I keep toying with the idea like, homie, I'm dead serious about pushing this chicken. I'm ready to get up in there and put everything behind it, right? That's the key right there, man. I'm ready to try some stuff. That's crutches won't allow us to. He said, black female said a record researching new businesses and starting new. And that's what I'm saying, right? What are we waiting on? We waiting on somebody to tell us when, because nobody's going to tell you when. It's never going to be the right time. I'm going to tell you that right now. There's never going to be an opportune time where you just walk into the sunset with a bag of cash and an idea and you just go start, right? You saw what happened to Carlito's Way, right? When he tried to get out, when he was like, you know what, man, I'm going to go down here to Bahamas and try to go, it never works out right. So there's no right time to do it. That's the thing about leaping and jumping and taking these steps, right? You got to just fucking do it. And irrespective of what people think, even if you don't succeed, you spent your time wisely, because every lesson that you're going through is a lesson for improvement, right? Even if you make a mistake, some lessons are more expensive than others, right? Some cost 50 grand, some cost $5, right? But lessons all have a price tag on them, right? And the thing about it, we can't be afraid to take that risk or that step towards success, because that sometimes God wants you to break that crutch. When you're relying on your parents, you're relying on everybody, go out there and see what you made of, right? Because the only way we build confidence in kids is if we let them walk on their own, right? We keep holding their hand. Same thing with riding the bike. You got training wheels on. How's that helping you? It's not until you break them training wheels off that you really see what your true potential is and what bike riding is really about. And the same thing with us. Once we break these crutches off of us and get off of them, because we all have them, right? We got the crutch that says we can't go work out. Why? Because the timing's wrong. They always have the classes at the wrong time. You got excuses, right? We got 1,000 crutches all over the place. Why haven't you pursued your business, right? I don't have enough money. There's 1,000 businesses in my city already doing it. I don't have a business degree. You got all these crutches around, right? So anytime you need to lean on it, you find one, man. You go pull it out the closet. Oh, I can't do this. Let me walk around so I can get sympathy. Oh, you on crutches? What'd you do? Break your... Nah, I broke my spirit, right? I broke my spirit. So that's why I'm on crutches. And the thing about our spirits, right? Just because our spirits are broken, or just because we feel like we got doubt inside of us, right? Like we can't pursue something because oftentimes it's because we've seen nobody else around us do it, right? And then oftentimes we see other people using crutches. We like, fuck it, I'm going to use one too. I'm going to use that same one he used. Why? Because it worked. Right? They can still sit there. Oh man, it's the town I'm living. We'll leave. Right? Quit using excuses and crutches. Right? I'll use those like at low key the same thing. An excuse is a crutch. Why you keep leaning on it? Why haven't you left that job? Oh man, because I got bills. You're gonna learn how to hustle. You know what I'm saying? I learned how to hustle. We learned how to pay bills off of double ups and quarter pieces. So the hustle's still there. The hustle drive is still there. Right? We just got to have that flicker. We always had that flicker inside of us, no matter how much somebody tries to put down our dreams or make us feel like we can't accomplish something. I try to stay way away from people who are talking about no's and nothings. So sometimes you got to go outside. If you can't find a mentor, you can't find somebody who is trying to do something, right? Who is really trying to do something. Then what's the point? That's what I'm saying. So now this is the key. This is the key. Find out what your crutches are. What am I making excuses for all the time? What am I consistently making excuses for? Once I figure out what those crutches are, let me make a list on that. And then let me create some alternatives to what to do. And oftentimes you got to talk to yourself, coach yourself, keep talking yourself into things and over again, right? And that's the key right there is your internal conversations. I've been listening to Asking It Is Given over and over again. And I've had the opportunity to listen to other stuff too, right? But lo and behold, everything keeps pushing me back towards that. Everything keeps here, man. Go back towards that. You need to be talking about this. You need to be, because this is on my psyche. This is on something that I'm listening to on a regular basis, going directly into my mentals, and hopefully it's on repeat. So now when I think about things, right? I did a post earlier this week. I said that you can't ask God for a blessing and be looking over his shoulder, waiting to see if he can do it for you. You need to ask for the blessing, walk away, period. And I'll go start to be a blessing to other people. And I had to check myself on that because I'm constantly looking, with this restaurant. Hey, man, dude, hey, you put it out there, that's it. Walk away from it, right? The universe knows what time it is. It's coming your way. Now go be a blessing to somebody else. And that was my message for last week. Kind of, be a blessing for somebody else. You'll be shocked. You'll be shocked. And when you start to get away from your crutches and you start to break these crutches down, right? You say, no excuses. Let me move on it. Right? Because again, that 5-second rule is critical. This is when your brain starts to talk you out of stuff and start to use those same crutches because it's trying to protect you. It doesn't want you to go out there and risk a damn thing. It wants you to stay exactly where you've been. What's going on, Stephen? Appreciate you tapping in. Baby, Fifth Ward wants you to stay exactly where you are. It wants you to maintain them excuses. A lot of times you've been using those excuses since you've been a child. I don't want to go out the house. I don't want to go try these new things. I want to stick around my safe friends. Whenever somebody gets to talking that day one shit, I'm like, there's nothing wrong with people that you mess with, but you got to advance. We got to advance at the same pace. Not necessarily the same goals and destination, but you need to be advancing. I need to be advancing. I don't want to hear no day one stuff. I want to hear, man, these are my current partners because we talk about this now. I hear people talking all the time. I only kick it with my day ones. So you haven't expanded your friends. You haven't stepped outside your circle from day one, right? Come on now, you're talking nonsense. You have to meet people in order to grow. Period. Right? Somebody's going to introduce you to somebody, may introduce you to an opportunity. I've learned try not to. And I remember I used to be, man, I don't want nobody in my business. Hard nose. I'm not letting nobody know nothing. Well, that can be a pro and a con. Need to be nice to people because in return it'll come back to you. That's the crazy part about it. But we have to get rid of the crutches, which is the ultimate thing of what we're talking about today. What other crutches do we have, right? Why haven't we pursued this? I remember a lot of times we would automatically assume the answer will be no, so we wouldn't even try. And that's what the problem with crutches and excuses is, that they stop you from even trying, right? Oh man, I'm busted. Oh, I think she's got a boyfriend. Oh man, they're not hiring down there. Such and such went down there and they couldn't get the job. You know what I'm saying? Also get rid of people that don't want to. Yeah, you have to, right? They can't even be in they can't be in your everyday, right? Because it's almost like a cold or COVID. That shit is contagious, right? So excuses, crutches, they can be passed on. Here, you want to use my crutch, man? I've been using this for 20 years. I ain't did shit. Here you go. You want to use it? Like, nah, dog. You know what I'm saying? I'm cool. I'm trying to move on. I'm not trying to make excuses. I'm a solution-based cat. How can we fix it? What can we do? What do we have? What do we got to work with? What are our options? I'm an option-based cat. Whereas most cats are, hey man, this happened to me. Let me talk about it. I'm not talking about that shit. I'm not giving it energy. I'm not giving it time. I'm not giving it power. I'm not giving it a damn thing. What I am going to do is figure out my way out of this, right? I learned that from my father. Move on. Worrying ain't doing nothing, right? I heard a quote this weekend said, worrying is a waste of your imagination, right? It's using your imagination to think about the wrong things. So think about when we worry, right? What are we worried about? I'm worried about this. And does it happen? No, we're not. We're still not homeless. We're still not in this position, right? We still didn't. All these things that we were worried that we thought was going to happen, right? Legitimately thought was going to happen, did not come anywhere near happening. And that's the key right there. So this is the thing, man. We got to get away from those things that we've always used, right? I don't read. Why? because I've never been a reader. Man, bullshit. But have you picked up something that's interesting? Right? And if you're not a reader, are you a listener? I don't listen either. So where is your damn input? How do you get new info? From the homies? From this cat? Some street philosopher who's listening to somebody who possibly may have read? Quit making excuses. That's another crutch. I don't read. So you're not going to advance. Nah, I'm going to just be right here. I'm going to maintain this position of 756. Like, really, dog? You know what I'm saying? Come on. Don't give me no excuse. Oh, man, I don't do. When people start to tell me what they don't do, I'm like, man, shut that shit up, man. What do you do? Tell me that. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to hear what you don't do. And why can't you do? I don't do this because, well, man, what do you do? Do you hee-haw? What the fuck? What do you dance? What do you do? Because you don't have, if you saying you don't read, I don't watch documentaries, I don't do none of that. Well, where's your input? And if we're friends, it'll be obvious, man. There's no input on this cat. This cat ain't put me up on a magazine, a Netflix show, a news report, ain't told me nothing. What's happening? Man. And that's what sometimes we surround ourselves with these people because they're easy and they're not going to challenge us. Right? They're crutches too. A lot of times we stick with the same people because they don't challenge us. They don't bring out the best in us. They bring out the easiest in us. Right? They don't challenge us. And you want to be around people who are going to hold you accountable, who are going to make you uncomfortable when you come around. Like, damn, I need to step my game with this over here chisel. Yeah. That's the kind of friends you want, man. I'm about to go. Okay, well, you inspiring me. I'm not jealous of you, dog. But you are inspiring me. You're trying to get me going, whether you know it or not. So that's why it's important to be around other people and see other people bubbling, right? Sticking around the same people that are taking L's and are complaining about the L's and aren't doing shit about the L's. I've told you guys that story about the dog on the porch, right? It's an old story, and I always talk because I got new listeners and new followers. But there was a dog on the porch that sits up there. Well, no, let me set the story better than that, right? There's a traveler traveling on this country road, car breaks down, blah, 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 right? He's walking up to this farmer's house, farmer sitting on a rocking chair, he's just chilling, right? But the dog is sitting there howling. Just howling. And man, the dude's trying to use the phone, call the tow truck, da-da-da-da-da. He's like, hey, man, sir, I appreciate the phone call, but I'm really sorry to bother you, man. But why is this dog howling? And dude's like, man, well, he's sitting on a nail. And he's like, well, he's sitting on a nail. Why is he sitting on a nail? Why doesn't he just get off of it? He said, because it doesn't hurt that bad. So there's plenty of people in the world who are going to just sit up there and run their mouths and complain, but are going to continue to maintain their position sitting on this rusty ass nail, right? They ain't got enough sense to get off the nail so that they can quit complaining. So that's the moral of the story. Like, we can't sit up there and talk about what we don't have if we're not making any action at moving it, right? We got to pursue it some type of way. We got to move towards it. I don't care if you get rejected. I don't care if you take the L. I'm caring about the action, right? What was the intent? What was the movement? What did you how did you step towards it, right? We went to one event. We started doing pop-ups in the back. We started doing small stuff, and we're still doing small stuff. And we got a 6-year plan. And we're getting ready to work that shit to the bone. Pun intended. You dig? So that's the key right there. We're doing our steps one at a time, taking little baby steps. We're not afraid of it. You know what I'm saying? I practiced failure so much that it's part of my DNA. I get it. Let me hurry up to it if I'm going to get to it. Right? And that's what people are afraid of. So that's why they don't step into other arenas, right? Challenge yourself. Challenge yourself to be around a bunch of nerds and academics, right? When you're not necessarily polished in that sense, right? Challenge yourself to be around a bunch of financial people when you don't know that much about finances, right? Put yourself in circles that make you uncomfortable. If you're comfortable in your circle is probably trash. And I'm gonna just be frank and honest with you. If you're comfortable in that circle, and nobody in the circle is making you uncomfortable, you don't have that one balling friend or who's setting it off, check your circle then, homie. You know what I'm saying? And that's the point. I surround myself now. I work with academics, constantly publishing papers, and I'm like, but it's making me step my game up. It's making me even look over there into that arena, right? I constantly read about entrepreneurs and listen to entrepreneurs. I'm already an entrepreneur, so I don't need much. I could take advice in terms of growth, but I don't need much in terms of how to initiate something. I've moved beyond that stage, right? I know how to set up an LLC. I know how to do all that kind of stuff, right? The basics of business. But the key is, and I think a lot of people, once they get into business, they realize that it's not incredibly difficult. But what is incredibly difficult is that initiative, right? That drive, that getting started, that getting out of the rut, that getting out of your fear, moving your fear out the way and saying, man, let me try this. Let me try. Let me swing, right? Because you can't hit shit if you're not swinging your bat, right? And a lot of times my shoulder, man, I'm not swinging, man, come on. Enough with the excuses, man. We're not doing that, right? And if you really want something, you're gonna battle through it. Even if you have an injury, right? You're gonna figure out a way, right? That's the thing. And most of our injuries are mental. They're not physical. Mental injuries. So we use mental crutches in order to accommodate. But that's a problem, right? Because those mental crutches are the things that are preventing us, right? And it's nothing to do with that, right? I've told you guys a story about the elephant who's been tied to a post since he was a child. No matter how big he got, no matter how strong he got mentally, he's still a child and locked up to this thing. So a lot of times that's where we come in. The same thing. We've heard the doubts. We've seen the struggles with our parents. We've seen this. We've seen that. We've seen all these things that have low-key discouraged us from actually trying something. And that's what we need to be doing. We got to experiment. We got to make more out of life than just being. That's not, come on. And that's at least for me. Now, some people make me content with me. You know what? I'm cool. I like my wife the way it is. So enjoy that. Please do. Because I make sure I got time for my family. And that's the one thing I don't make excuses for is, oh, man, I got to do this. We got to work 48 hours. And that's a negative, homie. And that's not even, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that for entrepreneurship. I'm not doing it for anything, right? I'm making sure that I got time for my children, my family, my wife, et cetera, et cetera. And you got to be able to compartmentalize like that as well. And don't say, I work so much that I can't spend time with my family. Another excuse. Or I got to hustle so much. Time ain't, man, come on. Time is a man construct, right? And whatever you asking for, you will get. So be patient with that, right? And go through the process, but don't neglect the time because that may be the gift. And that's where a lot of people miss. The time with your kids, the time, that may be the gift. Right? We get it confused a lot of times when we think money's the gift. But I've seen some miserable, rich, miserable, busted, crazy looking people. So that's the thing. You got to be careful what you ask for. You dig what I'm saying? We think, oh man, we got to get, man, these cats out here getting followed home with Richard Mule. They getting robbed out here. So do you want that? Or you content with your neighborhood? I'm content with my neighborhood. They shoot fireworks, but shit, they ain't following people home and robbing them for Rolexes, right? So that I'm cool with what I have. You feel what I'm saying? And that I think that's the key to my success is really appreciating everything that God's given me because these are the very things that I've asked for, right? And it's oftentimes that when we don't really know what we want, we ask for things based on what we think other people think we should get, and then we're not satisfied with it, so we keep moving on. Relationships, cars. People always say, "I got you, man. My car for sale." Man, I remember being that in the game. That was to show you're balling, right? I got cars for sale. Man, who cares? You know what I'm saying? Like for real, I got cars. I'm flipping it. I just bought it and it's for sale. Everything's for sale. Man. That's just, that that's not what I'm up to, right? I appreciate what God gave me, my gifts, my time, more than anything, my time. Then you could set yourself up. I did a whole episode on designing your life. What kind of job do you want? You want a job where you got to go Monday through Friday, 8 to 5? Well, some people, that's what they're doing. That's not what we're designed for. My wife works 3 days out of the week. I teach from home sometimes. Sometimes I'm teaching on campus. Our other businesses are pretty much home based. So the kids are around. We spending time with them and they watching the businesses, right? So that's the main thing. We really planting seeds right now, right? Focusing on that thing we call legacy back in the day. And that's the thing. We got to show we're not making excuses. There is no excuse. Especially right now with the internet. Come on. With the internet right now, man, there's no excuse. You can learn anything. You can buy damn near anything. So what is the problem, right? It's those mental blocks, those mental crushes that kill us every time, right? The I can't do it. I don't want to figure it out. Start small. Start with one. Start with one listener, one product, one sale, one. You know, we get too caught up in comparing ourselves to other people in their umpteenth year. Well, one. That's it. I'm gonna break this crutch and I'm gonna start with one. I'm gonna sell one of these, right? Shout out to the homegirl Bernice who started off her dessert business. I remember she just started out small, boom, now doing big giant birthday party. That's what I'm saying. It just takes one small step towards it, right? God will meet you more than halfway. You know, we just want to sit up on the wall and wait for things to gravitate towards us. Well, we got to be magnetic, right? So our thoughts need to be magnetic if we want to attract certain things. But we are going to have to get off that wall and pursue something at some point in time, right? We can't sit up there and let life keep handing us the cards, man. We got to play the dealer at some point in time. Give me that damn deck, dog. I'm going to give myself my own cards on me. I need you to keep dealing me shit. You know what I mean? You start dictating life. It's called The Alchemist. If you haven't read that book, read The Alchemist. We can create things, right? We can create our own life. I'm trying to tell you, it is a fact. Everything, I keep saying that, and I want you guys to understand this. It started with this. Wasn't anything else. It started with the thought process. What do I want? I started seeing the power. When I started reading the books, Live Your Dreams, Les Brown was one of my first motivational books I've ever read. And when I started seeing the power of that, of how he created his life and went up there and was just persistent in becoming a disc jockey, freaked that, turned that into speaking again. That's the you got to be persistent, right? You got to let the universe know you dead serious and it will deliver. Here you go, homie. I was just seeing if you was playing or not. And most of the time we playing, which is why we don't get what we want to get because we playing. God, no, oh man, I'm serious. I want to do this. Are you serious, man? And you know what it takes to get to that? Okay, well, start working on it. You want her? Okay, well, you got to start working on it. You got to start pursuing her. You got him. You want him? Okay, well, you got to start working on that. You got to show the world, them, everybody that you're serious about it. So if you're talking about opening a shop, if it were me, I'll just use a prime example. If I were to open up a mechanic shop, say I wanted to start working on cars, first thing I would figure out is what are the easiest cars to work on, right? And I would design a shop that would be nothing nowhere near like any other auto shop that you went in, period. You feel what I'm saying? So automatically I'm differentiating myself. I'm not going in the game. I'm going in the game where we got drinks. While you wait, there's internet, there's all kind of stuff, right? And just courteous people, it'd be completely different than what you're going right now where they're trying to rip you off. And that's the thing with industries. All you have to do is find out where can I fit in? Where's the crease at? Because there's a difference in separation here, right? You got these, you got that. We figured out with chicken, right? We started buying KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken was Churches went to one soul food place, it was and then went to Color Up, I'm like, man, we could do better than this. And that's all it takes, right? Oftentimes it's those bad experiences that lead to that perfect inspiration at the perfect time. So that's why we need to participate and not look at everything as a negative. We talked about that last week, right? God flips things, right? For your benefit. Nothing that enemy can do can hurt you without God giving you a remedy for it that will make you not only healed, but 4 or 5 times just as powerful for the next one. So that again, these are thoughts, right? This isn't stuff that magically happened overnight. These are thoughts that have taken place over time, experiences that I've been through, right? That I'm sharing with you guys because I've had crutches over and over again and I've broken them. So now I talk to my wife about it all the time. I'm like, if I'm going to work out, I just go do it. I don't talk about it. I get things set up. I plug in my phone. I start to charge my MP3. I charge up my earpods. I start to mentally go over what I'm about to do. Once the thought comes in, I start to mentally program myself. All right, I'm doing XYZ kicks. Okay, I'm going to do this. Okay, I'm doing this. I'm going to do XYZ punches. Okay, and I'm going to work this out for about 30, 45 minutes. Okay, cool. That's that. And it works that simple for me. You dig what I'm saying? But that's been years and years of practice. This isn't something that I've done overnight. This is years and years of practice and mental discipline. When you've been in some of the positions that I've been in over my life, you have to mentally, like, it's mental chess, for lack of better words, right? And you have to motivate yourself. You've been behind the wall, you've been behind the gates, you've been juvenile hall. Any of that stuff, when you're by yourself, you have to program yourself. And I've been in those situations where I didn't have my parents around and I was really young. So getting mentally strong was that was exercise for me. And that's why what it does is it prevents mental injuries. When you mentally exercise, meaning that you read the right books, you have the right people around you, you know how to motivate yourself. You get in a zone, right? You get in a zone, and in addition to that, you build those muscles, those mental muscles that prevent injury. Most of the time when athletes get injured, why? Because they're not necessarily physically conditioned. Same thing mentally. If you're not mentally conditioned, if you don't mentally prepare yourself for stuff, there's things that can injure you. Talked about the subtleness of the enemy, right? And what he does, how he tries to throw things at you. I was in line trying to get gas for the truck. Dude cut in front of me. No, he wasn't in front of me. Older gentleman, acting like a little 5-year-old. I am cutting, turn his music up. I said, man, here we go. Right? And it's those subtle things that will throw you off from actually the gift that God's trying to give you. The enemy knows your gifts are coming, right? So he's going to try to distract you with those small, subtle things, a call, an email, a disappointment in dinner. It could be the smallest things, the ring going off. It could be any of those things, knowing that you do this every Monday, but it happens all the time. So you have to prepare yourself. Continue to go on. You know the enemy is going to try to use the same things he used in the past. You know it. Prepare yourself, right? Crutches. He's going to constantly hand you crutches. Hey, homie, go ahead. Use that, dog. Ain't nobody going to know. That's that one thing, right? Ain't nobody going to know. You lie to yourself. Ain't nobody going to know, man. Don't trip, dog. I got you. Nobody going to know. You know. And God knows. Probably the most important people. You know and God knows. And that's crazy, right? We thinking that we can hide things based on our intention. Oh, man, I can't. We ain't going, man, trust me on that one. God knows. So don't cheat yourself. Don't short yourself. Break those crutches. Read books. Don't ever say what you're not, right? Don't ever say what you can't do. Don't ever say I'm not this type of person. Oh, man, I've never been in. No. Watch your mouth, right? We've already talked about that. There's episodes on that. Go in the past, look in the archives and checking them out. Watch your language, what you say to yourself. If you need help, read the 4 agreements. 4 agreements are how you all the way straight. Diamond Gary Weeks. I promise you that. Man, let me get to it. Right? Don't take anything personal. Don't make assumptions. Speak the impeccable word. Always do your best. Those 4 agreements, you should be straight. 100%. Right? 100% you should be cool. So that's my book suggestion for the week. Cutting it short today, only giving you guys a half an hour. So I certainly appreciate that. Make sure you guys subscribe, man. Make sure you guys hit the podcast up. Subscribe, leave us a review. I'm looking for reviews from you guys. If you guys enjoying the content, make sure you please leave us a review, comments on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you guys tap in next week. Go get the 4 agreements. Diamond Gary Weiss. Let me show you guys. Let me see. Hold on, let me pull it up real quick. The 4 agreements. I think I've shown you guys this, but I read this so many times when I was down. It was one of the best things for me. Man, appreciate that, homie. One of the best things for me. Let me see. Chrome tab. Yeah, show you guys real quick. Go grab it, homie. It's one of them things that's a low key a life changer. You dig? So grab it. Let me show you what the 4 agreements. Make sure. So you can get the poster. Don't take anything personal. Always do your best to make assumptions. But yeah, grab that book, man. It's fire. That's my suggestion. Or get the book Asking It Is Given by Esther Hicks. Another fire one. But yeah, man, that's all I got today, man. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Please feel free. If you got questions, put them in the chat box, put them in the comments, and we'll go from there. That will conclude our weekly tap in. Appreciate y'all tapping in. Tapping out.